to just let you see what is up next. Yeah, please start.
Yeah, okay, so is everything okay? Everybody sees the whole screen, the whole presentation?
Yes.
All right, so my name is Kirill Davidov, and I would like to present our solution for complex question answering systems. For those who just tuned in, Cerence is an automotive company, and well, we try to create a system for that company essentially. But now let me present our team. So first, we obviously have our project sponsor, which is, his name is Kuldeep Singh, and he currently working at Cerence. It's early, by the way, it's already known as Nuance Automotive in Germany, as innovation manager in automotive research and development. And as a team, we have me, Kirill Davidov, yours truly, and we have Alexander Pirvalov. Can we? Yeah. We have Thomas Fritz, Artur Mikhailov, and Alexander Vysokov. So a little bit about the system. So the system is capable of answering non-trivial questions with guided polls. And the main motivation is that a big amount of simple QA systems is available, and we wanted to create something special and unique that will fit the automotive industry specifically, with a set of features that will be very useful in there. So our goal is to provide features that are rarely implemented in basic, in question answering systems. So now I would like you to listen to Alexander Vysokov, who will talk about key features.
In this section, we want to talk about use case, question types. It can be genre, geospatial, time zone, born in, distance, location, and many more. In particular, it is a conference resolution and what I see around me. Conference resolution. The goal is to link Django Unchained from questions 1 and it from questions 2, give more information about co-reference entity. Who was the director of Django Unchained? The director is Quentin Tarantino. Tell me more about it. Django Unchained is an American Western film. Since Cerence is an automotive company, our system is designing to be used in cars from the ground up. This function simulates your presence in a car at a certain place of your choice. Then you can ask the questions like what is around me, and keep in mind that you can also do follow-up questions as you can see in the example in the slide. What I see around me, there are Edeka Center and Kaufland near you. When the Edeka closes at 21 o'clock.
So right now we would like to talk about our demo. So here it is actually, and well, maybe somebody can post the link in chat as well.
I've posted it, and I'd like to take the screen sharing.
Yeah, so now
I think you have to release it.
Yeah, so now I will disable mine. So is it disabled now?
No.
Yeah. Okay, so 1 second. For some reason, when you use multiple monitors, it doesn't allow you to disable it. So I will leave a meeting momentarily so Alexander can switch to screen sharing. So I will be able to disable it, and then I'll rejoin shortly.
Okay. Can you see it right now?
Yes, I can.
So, okay, and now I would like to present you our demo. At first, let's start with the overall appearance of the website. We tried to create it to look it like the original website of Cerence. And yeah, now let's switch to the main functionality of the website. Here we have some notes for the user. We have sample questions that can be an example how to use our system. We now can try to test it. And we have got an error. This is an additional issue that I would like to talk with you about. So we have tested our system so much time that the DBpedia Spotlight banned. It looks like they banned our IP address of our server on their API. That is why I have additional instance of our application, which is deployed locally. And here it is. Yeah, so now everything is ready. And at the moment, I just would like to show you the sample questions that are working in our system. Yeah, and for example, we can show you a question with the coreference. At first, we can type the first question: who wrote Django Unchained movie? And now we would like to ask, tell me more about it. By it, we mean the movie itself, not the director. And now you can see that the system was able to resolve the coreference, and it told us about the movie itself. The second feature of our system is the location questions. They are not linked to DBpedia Spotlight. That is why I would like to switch back to the deployed instance of our application and show you how it works. For example, we can pick our location on the map. We can, using this, we model our location like if we drive a car in this place. So we choose our location, then we can ask what I see around. And the system responds that there is a little store around me, and actually the response was right, because the little is around us. Additionally, we made a responsive design of our system, which wasn't the main goal, but I would like to show you it. So we can choose an iPad look, and you can see that the layout of the application is still looks good, and the iPhone mode is also able to yeah, looks good for our application. Yeah, so now I'd like to switch to our presentation back and to continue with my slides. Couple words about the system architecture. We have classical client-server architecture. The server side provides a REST API, and
Not so fast, it's not showing already.
Yeah, we need to switch the screen sharing again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, while I'm switching for another screen, I would like to add to the demo that we tuned to speed specifically. So as you can probably been able to see that the speed of processing for each request is very fast. Well, so now let's return to the presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The next slide. Yeah. So now I would like to talk with you about the architecture, our system in general. So we have classical client-server architecture. The server side provides the REST API for the client. Regarding to server side, we have several microservices which represent every component of our system, and additional component is the canary framework which runs all the components together. Also, every component and the canary itself communicates with each other via Triple Store, which is a global database for the components and the component manager. From my side, that's it. Let's move to the other slides.
Yeah, but just how does our application work from a logical perspective? Let's start with the basics. We've actually been quite faithful in representing our information, quite faithful to the RDF type format of representing information, meaning that we see each simple statement as a collection or a triple of a subject, a predicate, and an object. For example, in the sentence, the Bohemian Rhapsody song was written by Freddie Mercury. And we do this, why not the other way around? You mean, I mean in natural language, we can kind of switch the subject and the object around. Not here really, because this is the way our information is stored in DBpedia. You go to the Bohemian Rhapsody song resource, you look up the attribute for the writer, and there it is, Freddie Mercury. Questions are kind of like statements, except we're missing something. We're looking for either the subject or the object. And whether we're looking for the subject or the object, that's gonna, our template classifier tells us that. Or maybe we just need to calculate something out. So that's what a template classifier is good for. Which part, whether the subject or the object is replaced by a question pronoun, a who, a what. The predicate, we get the predicate or a URI for the predicate from the relation classifier, and the missing subject or the object is given by our named entity disambiguation service, dbpedia Spotlight. Well, hopefully. If it doesn't, the question validator comes in and says, hey, there's something wrong here. We don't have all the information we need. Maybe dbpedia Spotlight didn't extract the information correctly out of question, but most of the time, we're just dealing with a follow-up question. There's a co-reference in there, meaning that the user may have referenced an entity or something from a previous question or an answer, as we've seen previously in the demo. And the co-reference resolver gives us that entity from the previous question or answer. Now we've actually got all the information we need. We can build a Sparkle query for DBpedia, send it to DBpedia, and the template generator is gonna generate us a natural language answer that we can display to our user. Go on, next slide, please. Our system is also quite client-friendly, meaning that we can have multiple instances of it running on different servers with a load balancer in between them, and we can have all sorts of different clients. We're having a web client right now. We could easily make some mobile apps or even a system that runs inside a car for the actual target audience that we're having. Next slide. For for our template type classifier, that was the one telling us which type of question we're dealing with, it can have multiple outputs. We could have a straightforward question, meaning that we got the subject, we've got the predicate, we're looking for the object. A backward question is the other way around. We have the predicate and the object, and we're looking for the subject. We also support Boolean questions. Is it true that Angela Merkel was born in Hamburg? Yes, it was. Yes, it is. Also, we do support distance questions. What's the distance between whatever, Moscow and London, point X and point Y? Our system can calculate it out. It's not that hard, actually. Or for, we can also ask, tell me more about something, as you've seen previously in the demo, a kind of follow-up question, or the classical geographical way of asking, what do I see around me? What's there in my proximity? I'll go on, next slide, please. The relation classifier is kind of, well, a little more interesting. We've got 45 of the most common predicates for questions. The relation classifier, it classifies them out of the natural language question. And we've actually trained the relation classifier ourselves using a TF, IDF, and logistic regression model. Maybe we could use SOTA in the future. That can also be extended quite easily to more predicates. Go on. That was my part.
Yeah, let's speak about the project management. We'll tell you about the end-to-end quality, deployment and CI tools, and key points, also roadmap and statistics. So let's start from the end-to-end quality. We calculated the accuracy based on 100 questions from simple questions dataset. As you can see, the accuracy of our system is 62%. This means that we have problematic questions, and you can see some of them here. So for example, where's the Empire State Building located, and what is the genre of the book false memory? In first case, word where recognized like Wikipedia.org for some reasons, but not the Empire State Building. And in second case, once Spotlight doesn't recognize false memory. Yeah, sometimes Wikipedia Spotlight model can recognize entities wrong or not at all. Next slide, please. So our deployment and CI, we have our Docker container. It consists of our code, dependencies, environment, and all services are packaged as well here. Also, then we have Docker Compose. It have configuration, runtime instructions, network settings, and environment variables. And also we have boot shell script. It receives running time variables and start all microservices for deployment. So next slide. Here you can see all tools that we used in our program. So Python is our program language. Docker used to automate the assembly of the system and simplify its transfer to other services. Scikit-learn we use for ML models, creating and their training. Hugging Face is the library that we use to solve the problem of car reference. Stardock is the triple store data storage system. Spacey is the library for test issues. We're using it to highlight name entities. And Canary, of course, is the framework for system models control.
So now let's talk about key points, like let's wrap it up. So project sponsor tells us build a robust system, and our certificate supervisor tells us to build something unique. So I think that as a result, we will manage to combine both of these key points in our final solution. And if you just tuning in, you probably haven't seen this slide, but if you've seen our previous presentation, you've seen that at the very end of each presentation, I would show a roadmap where I could talk about what are we planning, what is going to be done. Some tasks, as you can see, have been removed by project sponsors. But in general, I think we stuck to our roadmap and everything, everything has been done so far. And now let's talk a little bit about statistics. So we had 5 overall meetings with project sponsor. We spent around 290 hours on implementing this system, of which 27 hours have been wasted, but I think this is a good ratio. We had 6 sprints, 56 tasks has been completed overall, and 9 tasks have been canceled. So with that, I would like to say thank you, and I really mean it, because since I have the honor of closing this section of these presentations, I would like to thank Professor Both for doing this class for us. I would like to thank all the other students who've been participating as well. It's been an honor to have this international cooperation. It's been really great. We learned a lot of things during this course. We implemented, I think, a pretty good system. Every team did their best effort to provide as good of a solution as possible. And I mean, it's been an honor to work with all of you. So yeah, if anybody else wants to say something like that, or maybe, ask questions to us, you are pretty much welcome to do it. And here's the link to the demo as well. Again, you can try it out if you want. So yeah, thank you very much. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask them.
So I only want to add that I totally agree with you, Kirill. It was a really pleasure to work with you. Thanks. And great presentation.
Thank you.
Maybe I start with a question about slide 11. Can I switch back, please, to slide 11? So in slide 11, we see your overall architecture, which is a very, very good visualization of what you actually have done. Architecture was not described intensively, which is, of course, with respect to the time, which is, of course, okay. But I would like to share my impression that the components template classifier, relation classifier, and DBpedia Spotlight NAD, named Entity Disaggregator, are executed in a concurrent way. So they are run in parallel, correct?
Yes, right.
Can you give us some impression why this is possible here? So why did you choose this kind of architecture, which is, of course, which is a good idea, because then the performance is better if you actually are capable of doing something in parallel. But why is this possible right now in this situation?
Well, obviously, neither the results nor the inputs of those components are dependent on each other. The relation classifier just classifies, just gives us a predicate. The DBpedia Spotlight gives us an entity that can be used later as an object or a subject, either of which. And we don't really need to know which one it is in this first layer, only in the following ones. And well, the results of those 3 components can be combined into a Sparkle query for DBpedia. So yeah, there's not really no dependencies between those 3 components.
So you identified the data dependencies, and while looking at data dependencies as you have described, it was figured out that these 3 components can be executed concurrently because they are not depending on each other, while the second layer, the co-reference resolver and the question validator, actually need the input of these first components and have to wait for the next one. But then they also can be executed concurrently, and that's of course
Yes,
will have
correct.
a huge impact on the performance, because if you execute everything sequentially, then well, the performance will be, the runtime will be very higher.
Can I ask about this slide as well? It's not clear how can you validate question before co-reference resolving. or in parallel?
Yeah, maybe I will respond to you. The question validator itself is taking the parameters from the template from the previous 3 modules and just checks if the if all the slots of the particular template are filled with the dbpedia spotlight, and if yes, then we just continue to execute our process. And regarding to the reference resolver, this component checks if the reference at first exists in the question, and secondly, if it exists, it tries to find the previous answer or previous entities from the answer in the triplet store storage. And only then it puts the retrieved results to the Sparkle builder. So in general, reference doesn't need the validation, because the validation is more pretty much for the spotlight component.
So, okay, so coreference resolving is a isomorphism and doesn't it change the structure of this intermediate data? Okay, thank you.
I also have one question. Can you please switch to the slide where you say who wrote Django Unchanged movie? And there was something, and it was, tell me about it.
Yeah, so this is about reference. And what is the question?
I also got banned on this site, so I can just test it. If I will write, instead of tell me more about it, like tell me about him or tell me about the writer, will be there an answer, or is going to be an error?
Yeah, so I can also answer on this question. Here we rely fully on the Hugging Face library. So for the moment we can just test it right now live. So I need my screen sharing.
Yeah, I don't know if the system on the production server has started working, but
can you give me the screen sharing?
Yeah, I would love to, but I have to disable Zoom every time when I don't know, it's a bug, I guess. I'm not being able to stop the share. Okay, so. Oh wait, no, it doesn't work. Well, I will have to leave again, unfortunately.
Okay, so now I will. Yeah. Yeah, let's check it. Yeah, so here the library that we use not always correctly links the entities between each other, and sometimes yeah, this is pretty much random results from the library, but yeah, but we will search for the better solution in future.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Are there any more questions?